All right, so let's begin with our lecture today. So we are looking at the 13th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Kshetra Kṣhetrajña Vibhāg Yoga, and we are going through all the shlokas. Shloka Sangraha. So today we are going to look at 20 virtues to gain in or 20 virtues to cultivate to gain true knowledge and direct experience of Brahman. And in order to get that experience, we need to understand Neyam, what is to be known. So the objects of knowledge. Then in the last session, we looked into shloka 1 to 7, where we tried to understand what is Kshetra, what is Kshetrajna, in order to, link with this session. When you go back, you go through the previous recording, so you will get that connection. And will now in today's session, we will be looking at next verses from 8 to 14. So, so let's begin with, so the first 5 verses, that is 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. These 5 verses are listing out these 20 virtues. So I'll just chant the shloka first. Amanitvamadambhitvam ahimsam kshantirarjavam acharyopasanam shaucham स्थैर्यमात्म विनिग्रहः इन्द्रियार्थेषु वैराग्यम् अनहङ्कार एव च जन्म मृत्युजरा व्याधि दुःखदोषानुदर्शनम्. So what is the first few virtues which are listed in these two shlokas? To gain knowledge of the Kshetra and Kshetrajna. So Kshetra is our body, mind, intellect, and whatever you see, perceive, experience in this universe comes in the category of Kshetra. And Kshetrajna is the principle behind all these, is termed as Kshetrajna. So to understand the difference between these two, and to always in our day-to-day life, we should be remembering what is me and what I am not. So this discriminative power will slowly, gradually, we can build within us. So to gain that, Shri Krishna is telling Arjuna that certain kinds of qualities we need to cultivate within us. One need to develop spiritual knowledge, purification of the heart. These 5 verses describe the virtues, habits, behaviors, and attitudes that purify one's life and illuminate it with the light of true knowledge. So, what are they? Humbleness, freedom from hypocrisy, non-violence, forgiveness, simplicity, service of the Guru or service to the Guru, cleanliness of body and mind, steadfastness, self-control, dispassion towards the objects of senses, absence of egotism, keeping in mind the evils of birth, disease, old age, and death. So we are now going to look into them one by one. So the first quality to be developed is amanitvam. So what is the opposite of that? Manitvam, that is the self-pride or ahankara. Whenever we get identified with our body, with our mind, we develop ahankara. So we may have that pride about our education, the look, or status in the society, the financial status, or whatever it is. So attributes of our individual field. Even a sadhaka on this spiritual path can develop this sukshma ahankara, that I meditate every day, I don't eat non-veg food, I read scriptures, I am very pious, I am very sattvic, etc. So here is a caution. If you are getting even that sukshma kind of ahankara, what will happen? That results in distancing our consciousness from God. And that is a big obstacle on the path of self-realization. So 13th chapter mainly focuses on to know what is Kshetrajna, being in the field of Kshetra. So we are going through all the field of Kshetra, but while in this complex network of Prakriti or Kshetra, our journey is always towards Kshetrajna. So on the journey in this path, we are obviously going to face various obstacles, various difficulties. And here, through the conversation between Shri Krishna and Arjuna, they are giving us these very, important cautions that we have to be aware of them every time we need to work on them. So if any kind of such ahankara is developing within us, be cautious, be aware, take some efforts to overcome that. So if you will develop the quality of humbleness, only it will help you to go close to the Kshetrajna. The next quality is adambhitvam, freedom from hypocrisy. The hypocrite develops an artificial external personality. Maybe one person is very doing regular japa, but they are holding the japa mala in the hand and watching TV, and then someone enters the room, they quickly close their eyes and they will start doing japa just to show someone that I am doing my japa sincerely. So this is a type of hypocrisy. A person is defective from inside but creates a facade of virtuosity on the outside. So that is, he is not deceiving others, but he is deceiving himself. So it's kind of a split personality, need of self analysis and introspection. Whether I am true to my sadhana, whatever I am doing, it is not to show to the people or society or your family. Whatever you are doing is for your own growth, own development. So be honest, be true to yourself. Unfortunately, the external display of virtues is going to be always hollow. So whatever sadhana, whatever practice you're doing, stick to it sincerely and be honest with your practice. The next quality is ahimsa. Now, this is a very vast and deep, subject, non-violence. To kill someone physically, that's what we understand by the word himsa. So here ahimsa or non-violence need to be cultivated at three different levels. That is kayika, vachika and manasika. Physically, mentally and also through your speech. And three types of ahimsa means kruta, karita and anumodita. Kruta means you yourself, you're doing some ahimsa in any way, either kaik, vachik or manasik. Karita, you're not doing it, but you're doing from others. That is also ahimsa. And anumodita, if someone is doing it, you give your permission. So all the ways of doing ahimsa should be avoided. The cultivation of knowledge requires respect for all living beings. So if you're hurting someone, maybe physically by your speech, or it happens if someone, if you tell any insulting or bad words to others, they will keep quiet. that in their mind for years, for their lifetime. So it's kind of ahimsa. So see to it, you're very soft spoken, you're very humble, you're very kind with yourself and others. So at three levels and three types of ahimsa, we are not doing it. Even if it happens unknowingly, be cautious about that. Then the next one is kshanti, that is forgiveness. Harboring ill will harms oneself. By practicing forgiveness, a person of discrimination releases the negativities and develops calm state of mind. Shanti, manas shanti, as we say. See, by forgiving others, you're not doing anything good for that other person, but it is for your own sanity. If you will not forgive, that any incident or that subject will always there within you. So that is creating negativity, that is disturbing the inner peace, and that is against knowing the Kshetrajna, our journey. So it is always said, whoever is elder to you, always respect them. Who are of your same age, have friendship with them. Try to develop a friendly attitude towards them. And who are younger, try to forgive them for their all mistakes or whatever it is. So this kind of attitude will always help to maintain our shanti by forgiving others. So this is kshanti. Then arjavam, it is straightforwardness, simplicity in your living, in your lifestyle. Again at three levels: thought, speech and action. So absence of deceit, envy, crookedness, all these will lead to disturbance at physical, mental and intellectual level. So have very simple attitude. Your thoughts, your feelings, keep them simple. Speech, absence of taunt, criticize, gossip, ornamentation, avoid that. And in your action, plainness in living and frank in behavior. Be honest. Even don't hurt to others, but see to it that your thoughts or you are expressed in a correct way. So this is arjavam, simplicity in living. Then acharyopasanam, serving to the guru, service to the guru, requires the disciple to have an attitude of dedication and devotion towards the guru. By serving the Guru, the disciple develops humbleness and commitment that enables the Guru to impart knowledge. So, if you're not in a surrender attitude, even Guru will not impart knowledge. Now, if you don't have any physical Guru, whatever scriptures you are reading, it is with ahankara, it is with not correct attitude, then even those scriptures, they are also our gurus. So you will not gain the true knowledge. Never. Here Mundaka Upanishad, mentions Brahma Veda, Brahmaiva Bhavati. Guru himself is always in the state of uh, Brahmaiva, means he never disconnects from the God. He's always in connection with divinity, anusandhana. Because he is there at that state, he can impart the knowledge to the disciple. And why you need to always surrender or do service to your guru? Only that attitude, if it is there within us, we can reach up to his level. If you want to climb the ladder and reach at the stage where your guru is, then acharyo pasanam, this quality we need to develop within ourselves. Committed, humbleness, readiness to learn, and always conquer your own ahankara. So this is the way forward. The next quality is Shaucham, cleanliness of body and mind. Purity should be both internal and external. External cleanliness is helpful in maintaining good health, developing discipline, and uncluttering the mind. But internal cleanliness in, what is internal cleanliness here? It meant is uh, what type of thoughts, feelings, emotions you go through throughout the day depends on what time of types of karmas you're engaged in. So just be aware of what type of karmas you are doing and with what attitude. So every karma should lead to the state of karma yoga. That is even more important, and it is achieved by focusing the mind on the divinity. If you have that attitude that I am not the doer, I am not the enjoyer, whatever I am doing is being done with some higher power, that jnana or karma along with bhakti, if it is there, it will always lead to the state of yoga. So shaucham, cleanliness, purity, because karma yoga ultimately purifies your mind, your heart, your intellect. So it is not only external purity. Of course, you need to keep your body clean, your house clean. All that comes under external cleanliness. But what is important is what types of attitudes, thoughts, emotions you go through, what types of karmas you do, and what attitude you have towards these karmas will all will determine the purified state of your heart. Then sthairyam, steadfastness, self-knowledge and God realization are not goals that are attainable in a day. It takes lifetimes, birth after birth. The journey continues. For that, you need sthairyam. Steadfastness is the persistence to remain on the path until the goal is achieved, until you get direct experience of Brahman, until you understand who is that Kshetrajna behind all the field of Kshetra. So at different levels, you need that steadiness, sthiryam at physical level. And here comes the importance of asana. Asana practice teach you to keep your body in one particular posture for a certain period of time. Prana, here comes the importance of asana and pranayama, through which your prana is stabilized. Even your memory, if something happens, your memory goes in the past or goes, and thinks about so many things, there is distraction. No, you need to keep your body, prana, mind, intellect, memory, everything steady. Only that sthiryam can, create that progress in order to gain self-knowledge and towards God realization. Anything, distractions at all these levels will take you, or you will come down from your sadhana. Then Atma Vinigraha. So here, Atma here means the mind control. It is the restraint of the mind and the senses, your indriya. So your senses and mind control is Atma Vinigraha. From running after mundane pleasures that dirty the mind and intellect. So whatever shaucham you're trying to create, if your senses go behind the objects of senses, the pleasure or enjoyment you're seeking, if you're seeking it out of the objects of senses, all the purity will vanish. Self-control prevents the dissipation of the personality through indulgence. So here, at some level, why it is, and hence it is important to, we go through some vratas, or tapas, you must have heard about this, penance, why it is important. It can be as simple as that I will get up like 6 o'clock in the morning and I will not stay awake after 10 p.m. in the night. That is kind of a atma vinigraha, disciplining your body, your mind, your actions. As simple as that after 8 p.m. or 7 p.m. I'm not going to eat anything. That will develop lot of self control. There are so many what we say, that you get attracted to doing so many things and then your self control, you even forget about it. So that should not happen. So just try to follow few such disciplines in day-to-day life, which will take you further in your sadhana. The next one is Indriyartheshu Vairagyam. So as there is control over mind, you need to control over your senses. Dispassion towards the objects of the senses. It is a stage higher than the self-control mentioned above, in which we restrain ourselves by force. Dispassion means a lack of taste for sense pleasures that are obstacles on the path of self-realization. So, what are the ways through which you can gain control over your mind and senses? First thing, that determination, that how you are determined and committed to these disciplines. Second way of developing such vinigraha and vairagya towards it is to focus on something higher. So if your mind and senses are engaged in lower objects of senses, then just leave them, let go, and try to find something which is higher than that. What can be higher than that? For very simple example is Nama Japa. Do Nama Sankirtana. Take the name of God. Beyond that, nothing is higher than this. But we are right now constantly doing japa of all the sense objects. But instead, replace those objects with the name of God. Try it, practice it, and experience it. Okay? Then ahankara, absence of egotism. Egotism is the conscious awareness of I, me, and mine. When we are in a waking state or from sleep state, when we wake up, the first thing you experience is I. Yes, I am here. Then it's me, it's my body, it's my memory, mind, my thoughts. And what is mine? My children, my job, my house, everything comes with this ahankara. This is classified as ignorance because it is at the bodily level, arising out of identification of the self with the body. As we always say that what is ahankara? It is not the pride, because Sanskrit words cannot have the perfect translation. Ahankara is that basic thing. Whenever I identify myself with Kshetra, actually in real sense you are Kshetrajna, but I have forgotten that completely. And now I started engaging into the field of Kshetra. Oh, I am this body, I am this mind, I am this intellect. This is mine, this is me, I am. This is ahankara. As we, are young and as we grow old, this ahankara gets more and more stubborn. As there are stages of developing ahankara, similarly on spiritual journey, there are stages of reducing ahankara. It will not go in a day. That is what all sadhana is about. We are identifying with our money, status. I am doing this, doership, etc. But what is aham? Means no, never. Hananam, get destroyed. That principle which never get destroyed is aham, and hence there is a mahavakya of Upanishad, aham brahmasmi. So that principle, this body will get destroyed. I will get, I means what? This body will get destroyed. Kshetra will get destroyed. But what will stay all the time, Shashvata, is that Kshetrajna principle. And if we will remind ourselves again and again that I am not this, I am not that, but I am something else. I am Brahman. This reminder will always keep us close to the divinity within. So, ahankara, the absence of egotism, should slowly come down with your sadhana. And then, janma mrityu jara vyadhi dukkha doshanudarshanam, keeping in mind the doshas, the evils of birth, disease, old age, and death. If the intellect is undecided about what is important, material enhancement or spiritual wealth, then it becomes difficult to develop the strong will required for acquiring knowledge of the self. We are also in always that conflict, you know. But when the intellect is convinced about the unattractiveness of the world, it becomes firm in its resolve. There is a story of Hiranyakashipu that when his brother Hiranyaksha dies, that time he realizes, oh, I am also going through, I will also, this body will at some point will become old. I might get some disease and ultimately I am going to die. And he gets so scared with this thought that he does tapashcharya to overcome death, and thus he gains the boon that he will not get death. So but this is not the way to go forward. uh, Always remember this kshetra, the field of kshetra, the field of prakriti is vikruti. What I'm feeling, this body is not permanent. If it is born, it's going to die. It will go through different stages. So uh, look at these things that meant to happen, but you are not that. You are not going to die. If you have that anusandhana within, that inner attitude, I am not body. Body is going to die, but I am immortal. I am not going to die. Then your perspective about these things, these stages of life will change altogether. And hence, Shri Krishna is saying, develop or keep that in the mind, the evils of these stages of life. About your birth, disease, old age, and death. Contemplate upon it. Okay, so in first two shlokas, there are around 12 qualities that we have covered so far. So I would like to take a little pause here and ask you that, do you have any questions? Are you all with me? Um, is it okay? Any questions at this point? If not, we can proceed ahead. Then the shlokas 10, 11, and 12. The next three are again continuing another list of qualities. Asaktiranabhishvangah putradara-gruhadishu nityam cha samachittatvam ishtanishtopapatishu मयि चानन्ययोगेन भक्तिरव्यभिचारिणी विविक्तदेशसेवित्वम् अमरतिर्जनसंसदि अध्यात्मज्ञाननित्यत्वम् तत्त्वज्ञानार्थदर्शनम् एतज्ज्ञानमिति प्रोक्तम् अज्ञानं यदतोऽन्यथा. So what are the next qualities Shri Krishna is mentioning? Non-attachment, absence of clinging to spouse, children, home, and so on. Even-mindedness amidst desire and undesired events, ishta anishta events in life, constant and exclusive devotion towards me, an inclination for solitary places, and an aversion for mundane society, constancy in spiritual knowledge, and philosophical pursuit of the absolute truth, Brahman. All these I declare to be knowledge. Here Shri Krishna himself is declaring what is knowledge, that knowing about Brahman. And the opposite of these, vanity, hypocrisy, violence, revenge, duplicity, disrespect for the Guru, uncleanliness of body and mind, unsteadiness, lack of self-control, longing for sense objects, pride, entanglement in spouse, children, home, etc. Such depositions cripple the development of self-knowledge. Thus, Shri Krishna calls them ignorance and darkness. If we are going through, if we are having these opposite qualities, we are in a deepest layer of ignorance, in the darkness. If we want to overcome, if we want to have true knowledge, there is no other way but to develop these qualities. So the next one is asaktir. Saktir means asakta. Asakta means not getting attached to. It means dispassion towards the world. We have only one mind, and if we wish to engage it in pursuing spiritual goals, we have to detach it from material objects and persons. The sadhaka replaces worldly attachment with love and attachment towards divine. Hmm? So what he is doing, as I have mentioned, from lower levels to higher levels. If you want to have attachment towards the divine, not with lower, objects, persons, situations, things in your life. That kind of attachment you can always, develop or have, instead of having lower kinds of attachments. Then anabhisha, sorry, anabhishwangam, nirmamata, towards whom? Towards putra, spouse, home, etc. Absence of clinging to spouse, children, and home. Attachment causes expectations of the kind of behavior we want from family members. And when these expectations are not met, it leads to mental anguish, quarrels, fights, separation, etc. If we seek immortal bliss, we must be cautious while interacting with them to prevent the mind from becoming entangled. So what kind of approach we need to develop while being in family? Just like a nurse does her duty in the hospital, or as a teacher does her duty towards her students in the school. So anasakti and nirmamata. Dhritarashtra in Mahabharata, Dhritarashtra has mamata towards his kingdom and all his 100 sons. And he wanted his elder son Duryodhana to be the king of Hastinapura. This mamata, only everyone was coming to Dhritarashtra and telling, please consider, please give some part of your kingdom to Pandus, Pandava, that is the sons of Pandu. This mamata created a great, fight between Kauravas and Pandavas. We have to learn from these great epics, Ramayana, Mahabharata. Start reading it if you haven't started yet, because these are not some old things happened in the past, but they are still happening in this day and time. And whatever mistakes, those people have done, we should take lesson from that. So here, same thing Krishna is telling us, not to have that, even mamata is sattvic, rajasic and tamasic. So any type of mamata is not going to take you forward. So you should know when to engage and when to disengage. It doesn't mean that you should not love your family members, but that mamata should not create some more troubles in your life. So that's why have that anasakti, nirmamata towards the person, object, and situations in your life. Instead, have attachment and mamata to the or towards the divinity. And then samachittatvam, even-mindedness amidst desire and undesired events in life. To rise above these dualities. See, the whole sadhana is from dvaita to advaita. Ishta anishta. We must learn to enhance our spiritual strength through detachment towards the world. So here, I want to mention a few shlokas which have come in other chapters of Bhagavad Gita. With sukha and dukkha, how much to get affected is your choice. Through life, we go some sukha phase, then come against dukkha phase, again sukha phase. This is going to happen with everyone. But you have that, choice of free, means you can decide that how much to get affected. You have that choice, as nothing is permanent. If you're going through sukha and you feel that's going to last long, you're ignorant. If you're going through a bad phase and if you feel that is permanent, again you are in ignorant state. It's our duty to keep our antahkarana without getting affected by deep scars and impressions. If that is going to happen, you're developing, you're increasing your baggage of karmas, and accordingly you're going to get new birth. So even you go through such phases in your life, they should not create more samskaras in your chitta. So in 6th chapter, the verse number 7, Jitatmanah prashantasya paramatma samahitah शीतोष्ण सुख दुखेषु तथा मानापमानयोः. The yogis who have conquered the mind rise above the dualities of cold and heat, joy and sorrow, honor and dishonor. Such yogis remain peaceful, steadfast in their devotion to God. So all these shlokas mention about how you should have samachitta, steady mind, even you are getting successful, you're not, getting carried away with that. And if you are getting failures in your life, you should not become disappointed by that. Keep your mind steady. So these all shlokas are emphasizing how you can rise above the dualities. आत्मौपम्येन सर्वत्र समं पश्यति योऽर्जुन सुखं वा यदि वा दुःखं स योगी परमो मतः. I regard them to be the perfect yogis who see with true equality towards sukha and dukkha. Who can do that? People like us. With sukha we will get happy. With dukkha we'll, get depressed. That is not a sign of a yogi. Yogasthah kuru karmani sangam tyaktva dhananjaya siddhya siddhyo samo bhutva samatvam yoga uchyate. Be steadfast in the performance of your duty, O Arjuna, abandoning attachment to success and failure. Don't have any attachments towards even sukha, dukkha, success, failure, honor, dishonor. Such equanimity is called as yoga. So one of the definition of yoga is samatvam yoga uchyate. Have developed that vision within to look equally to all the phases of life, may it be sukha or dukkha. So that quality we need to develop. If you can see that, your mind will be samachittatvam towards ishta and anishta situations, things happening in your life. Now, as we are talking about so many qualities, one can think, oh, is it even possible? You know, let's talk about this very important quality. Bhaktir avyabhicharini, constant and exclusive devotion, ananya bhakti towards Shri Krishna, God, divinity. Shri Krishna is telling Arjuna, have that devotion towards me, and all the qualities will come to you. Mere detachment means that the mind is not going in the negative direction. Life is about engaging in desirable, what is higher, what is good, what is better, what is best. The desirable goal of life is to dedicate it at the lotus feet of God. So if we will, otherwise you need to do self-control by certain force, some resistance, your mind will resist it, you have to fight with it. You need to develop certain disciplines and you have to take efforts. You have to do tapas to, develop these qualities. But then what a sadhaka can do, power of bhakti. All virtues can be gained automatically by Ananya Bhakti. In last chapter of Bhagavad Gita, this is the last verse. Sanjaya says, Yatra Yogeshwarah Krishno, Yatra Partho Dhanurdharaha, Tatra Shrir Vijayo Bhutihi, Dhruva Nitir Matir Mama. Wherever there is Shri Krishna, the Lord of Yoga, and wherever there is Arjuna, the supreme archer, there will be also certainly be unending Where they are, there is going to be opulence, victory, prosperity, righteousness. And of this, I am sure, I am certain. So, what can we do? Just surrender. Just have that ananya bhakti towards, may it be Lord Krishna, Rama, Ganesha, whatever is your, uh, idol or principle, guru, whoever is there in your life, any scripture, have devotion towards it. And then another verse, again very important and famous. Sarvadharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja aham tva sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami ma shuchah. Abandon all varieties of dharmas and simply surrender unto me alone. That's what single thing you need to do. I shall liberate you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. So that's what Shri Krishna is telling Arjuna. You don't think that if I will do this, I will get papa. If I'll do this, I will get punya. Forget about that. Just surrender. Just abandon all the karmas, all the duties, all the sins and these things. Just surrender to me. Can we do that? Ask yourself, because this is the, I will not say easiest, but the most effective and powerful way. If you can do that, all the qualities will be within you. So bhakti, the importance of devotion. And then vivikta desha sevitvam, inclination for solitary places, not driven by the need for company to overcome feelings of loneliness, but by inclination towards solitary places. Here doesn't mean that you have to be alone, or you have to go to certain place like Himalayas or some forest in a solitary place. That is kind of more of a mental attitude. You can develop it within. Vivikta desha sevitvam. They naturally prefer solitude. So can you develop the attitude of being at peace from within? Even you are in group, even you are in society, can you develop that kind of attitude within? So that enables them to engage their mind in communion with divine. Because what happens, we are constantly in contact with people or certain work. So our mind and intellect, our antakarana, our chitta, is not in communion with divinity. It is thinking about all the other stuff but the divine. But we need to do exactly opposite. Have that constant communion with the divine. Externally, you're doing all the work. That is fine. But internally, can you develop this attitude? So if you can, you will be always having that strong connection, communication, anusandhan within you. And then uh, Aratir Jana Sansadi, aversion for mundane society. One who is cultivating divine consciousness develops a natural distaste. Rati means to, get engaged, entangled, uh, enjoy into the mundane life. But arati means disengage yourself from worldly activities. At the same time, if it is necessary to participate in it for the sake of service to God, the devotee accepts it and develops the strength to remain mentally unaffected by it. Means he is engaged, yet he is disengaged. This is the art of engaging and disengaging. So that aratir jana samsadi. You are among people, but you are still alone from within. You're still detached from all the, these worldly, mundane, materialistic things. And then last two, again, they are very important. Adhyatma Jnana Nityatvam, constancy in spiritual knowledge. Adhyatma, Adhi, Adhika Atma, that is knowledge of self. See, there is one academic knowledge or knowledge of Bhautika, the material world, Bhautika Jnana, and another is Adhyatmika Jnana, the Jnana about your own self. Both are equally important. In order to survive, sustain, you need to have Bhautika Jnana, but only if you're having Bhautika Jnana and no Adhyatmika Jnana, that will not give you, the ultimate peace, bliss, contentment in your life. If you have only Adhyatmika Jnana, no Bhautika Jnana, maybe or may not. So there again has to be balance between these two. We have to learn to practically implement spiritual knowledge in our lives. This does not happen by hearing profound truths just once. After hearing them, we must repeatedly contemplate upon them. Now, out of these all 20 qualities, at least one quality we need to contemplate upon. And not once, again and again. Such mulling over the divine truths is the constancy in spiritual knowledge. So have that balance between these two types of knowledge, and that will give you ultimate, permanent, eternal bliss. And then Tattva Jnanartha Darshanam, philosophical pursuit of the absolute truth about the divine, about the Brahman. God has especially blessed the human form with the faculty of knowledge, buddhi. This is not to enable us to engage in bodily activities in a luxurious way. What we are rightly focused on, how I can get, bigger house, good car, big job, big salary. Okay, that's fine. But that is not the ultimate purpose of human life. But for us to contemplate upon these questions, have we ever done this? Who am I? Have you thought about it? Why I am here? Why I am this Martyaloka? What is my goal in life? How was this world created? What is my connection with the Creator? How will I fulfill my purpose in life? This philosophical pursuit of the truth sublimates our thinking above the animalistic level and brings us to hear and read about the divine science, Adhyatmika Jnana of God realization. So with this, we complete the 20 qualities in the first 5 verses. We'll quickly go through the last 2 verses where after saying, telling Arjuna about what need to be cultivated. Now he is talking from 13 verse onwards, because in the next session will be mainly focus on objects of knowledge. So what to be known? Jneyam. What to be known? What is the object of knowledge? That Shri Krishna starts telling Arjuna. ज्ञेयं यत्तत् प्रवक्ष्यामि यज्ञात्वामृतमश्नुते अनादिमत्परं ब्रह्म न सदुच्यते. I shall now reveal to you that which ought to be known. If you have known so many subjects in life, but this is not known, no use. Ought to be known, and by knowing which one attains Amrita, that Brahma Amrita, immortality. It is and how is that? It is the beginningless Brahman which lies beyond existence and non-existence. So now Shri Krishna has now started giving what ought to be known, that Brahman, beginningless Brahman. Sarvatah panipadam tat sarvatokshishiro mukham sarvatah shrutimaloke sarvamavritya tishtati. Everywhere are his hands and feet, eyes, heads, and faces. His ears too are in all places, for he pervades everything in the universe. So if you ought to know about that Brahman, you need to know how that Brahman is. How does he look? So Krishna is saying that you can see everywhere God, you know, like if you're looking, as they have mentioned, eyes, everywhere. Everywhere are his eyes. Means what? In every person, animal, whatever you see is nothing but Brahman. And then we ask, is there God? Where is God? There is no God because I cannot see him. Krishna is giving you proof. If you're looking at other person, look divinity in him. Look divinity in you. Everywhere is only Brahman and nothing else. So we'll go into these details of Neyam, what to be known in the next session, but what need to be contemplated upon mainly from today's session are these 20 virtues. Okay, so we'll do our practice quickly, but beforehand, do you have any questions? Anything need to be discussed? So you can unmute your call. We will quickly go through these verses for chanting. So please repeat after me. Amanitvamadambhitvam
Amanitvamadambhitvam
ahimsa kshantirarjavam
Ahimsa Kshantir Arjavam
acharyopasanam shaucham
Acharyopasanam Shaucham
स्थैर्यमात्मविनिग्रहः
Stairyamaatma Vinigraha
इन्द्रियार्थेषु वैराग्यम्
Indriyarteshu Vairagyam
अनहङ्कार एव च
Anahankara Evacha
जन्म मृत्युजरा व्याधि
Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi
दुःखदोषानुदर्शनम्
Dukkha Doshanudarshanam.
Very good. Asaktirna, sorry. Asaktiranabhishvangaha.
Asaktir Anabhishwangaha.
Okay, we'll repeat. Asaktiranabhishvangaha.
Asaktir Anabhishwangaha.
Putradara gruhadishu.
Putradhara Grihadishu
Nityam cha samachittatvam.
Nityang cha samachittatvam.
Ishtanishtopapattishu.
Ishtanishtopapatishu.
Very good. Mai chananyayogena
Mahi chananya yogena.
bhaktir avyabhicharini.
Bhaktir vyabhicharini.
Avyabhicharini. Bhaktir avyabhicharini.
Bhaktir avyabhicharini.
Viviktadesha sevitvam.
Viviktadesha sevitvam.
Aratirjana samsadi.
Aratir jana samsadhi.
Adhyatma jnana nityatvam.
Adhyatma jnana nityatvam.
Tattvajnanartha darshanam.
Tattvajnanartha darshanam.
Etadjnanamiti proktam.
Etajnanamiti proktam.
Ajnanam yadatonyatha.
Ajnanam yadatonyatha.
Very good. The last two. Now he is starting with objects of true knowledge. Object of true knowledge. Jneyam yattat pravakshami.
Sneyang yattat pravakshyami.
Yajñātvāmrutamashnuते.
Yajñātvāmritamāshnute.
Anādimat param brahma.
Anādimat param brahma.
Na sattanna saduchyate.
Na sattanna saduchyate.
Very good. Sarvatah panipadam tat.
Sarvatah panipadantat.
Okay. Sarvatah panipadam tat.
Sarvatah panipadantat.
Sarvatokshiriromukham.
Sarvatokshishirokam.
Sarvatokshishiromukam.
Sarvatokshishiromukam.
Sarvatah shrutimaloke.
Sarvatah shrutimaloke.
Sarvamavritya tishtati.
Sarvamavritya tishtati.
Very good. Okay. So here we'll stop. And next month we will be meeting on 11th of June with the next shlokas from chapter 13. Thank you so much for joining in, and I hope to see you next month. Have a
Thank you
great
very
day.
much, Ketki. This was really, really insightful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, Ketki.
Thank Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Katie.
Thank you,
Katie.
everyone. Bye.
Thanks,
Before
Kate.
before you go, Katie, can I have a word?
Mhm.
Yeah, just to say, I happened to have the Gita looking at it before we started.